Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Marr, that noise you're hearing is my ventilator. Welcome to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. But we are not going to be talking about Star Wars today, nope. This is a recap of the 98th Academy Awards, the Oscars, which were this last Sunday. So let's cut right to the chase. I realize I just made a pun given the Aunt Gladys situation, but so a warning: there will be spoilers in this regarding the nominees for Best Picture and other Oscars. Now, I did see all 10 Best Picture nominees before the Oscars. Let's just get it out of the way. The show itself, the Oscar ceremony itself, was the usual, really not that great. I hate to say it. The intro video that Conan did, Conan O'Brien, who was the host, did an intro video wherein he inserted himself into the Oscar-nominated films. And honestly, I think that was a lot of fun. The rest of the ceremony, not so much. Now let's get to the awards. I am satisfied with the results of the Oscars. The complication with the Oscars is that we are celebrating the quote-unquote best films of the year. As far as I'm concerned, as far as a lot of people are concerned, the best film of 2025 was Sinners. And clearly, that did not win Best Picture. I am glad, though, that it did receive some awards. Sinners was my favorite film of 2025. And culturally, maybe the most important film at this moment. It is unfortunate that it did not get the due it deserved. But the fact that it got nominated for a record number of Oscars, and the fact that it won 4 Oscars in major categories, is significant because it's a horror film, or at least a horror adjacent film. And those films usually do not get the recognition they deserve. To be clear, 8 of the Oscars this year went to horror films. 1 to Weapons, 3 to Frankenstein, and 4 to Sinners. Sinners won Best Original Score, Best Cinematography, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Actor for Michael B. Jordan as Smoke and Stack. Let me just address the Michael B. Jordan Oscar. A lot of people were predicting that Timothée Chalamet would win for Marty Supreme. Timothy has not ingratiated himself to a lot of people lately. I'm not going to bother to explain it, but he has managed to tick some people off lately. Now, whether or not that had anything to do with the Oscar, I have no idea. But to cut to the chase, we should be celebrating Michael B. Jordan's victory as a legit victory. There is a narrative going around that he won Best Actor because everyone's mad at Timmy. I disagree. Michael B. Jordan won the Oscar for Best Actor because he did that good a job. His victory is not a "we wanted to spite Timmy" award. That's the narrative, is that Timmy lost because he pissed people off. No, Michael B. Jordan won because Michael B. Jordan was that good. So let's get the Timmy of it out of our heads. By the way, new promotionals for Dune Part 3 came out. Speaking of Timothée Chalamet, and it looks amazing. Anyhow, that's beside the point. Michael B. Jordan, I could not be happier for him. Anyhow, so then we look at Best Original Screenplay. That was a no-brainer. Ryan Coogler, the director, created something amazing. If you have not seen Sinners, please go see it. Now, it is rated R for reasons, so if that bothers you, skip it. But if it doesn't bother you, please see it. Please. Yes, it's a quote-unquote vampire movie, but it is so much more. Okay, Best Picture went to one battle after another. Oh, you know what? I made a mistake. Let me go back to Sinners. Sinners won Best Original Score also for the amazing Ludwig Göransson. And if you don't know who Ludwig is, speaking of Star Wars, he created the theme for The Mandalorian. I believe this might be his 4th Oscar, I think. You know, interesting to have the Swedish guy be the guy that creates amazing blues music in a predominantly black movie. Now, mind you, Sinners is not black cinema. And that alienates it to call it that. Sinners is cinema that appeals to everyone. And can speak to everyone. And the other one I wanted to mention, Best Cinematography. Autumn Durald Arkapaw became the first woman ever to win the Oscar for Best Cinematography. Sinners is a beautiful looking film. Okay, one battle after another won Best Picture, and I can live with that. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Supporting Actor, Best Editing, and Best Casting. And I'm very happy for the film, but I disagree with 2 of the victories. Best casting should have gone to Sinners. I don't like to use the word robbery, but that felt like it got robbed. To me, it felt like the best casting, which is a new Oscar, was designed for Sinners. But it didn't go to Sinners, and I was a little bit mad about that. Because Francine Maisler created an amazing cast in Sinners, and in my opinion, it should have gone to Sinners. Now, mind you, One Battle After Another, which did win casting, has an amazing cast too. Particularly for finding Chase Infinity. The young actress in One Battle After Another is a revelation. And yes, Chase Infinity is her real name. Also, to mention Sinners, they found Miles Caton, who, just like Chase Infinity, had never acted on screen before. This was a great year for new talent. Okay, now, casting, like I said, I think should have gone to Sinners. Now, Sean Penn as the villain, Colonel Lockjaw in One Battle After Another, won Best Supporting Actor. Oddly enough, he was not there, and do you know why he wasn't there? He was meeting with President Zelensky of Ukraine. So he had a good reason not to be at the Oscars. Now, I hate to use the word deserve, but did he deserve to win? In my opinion, the answer is no. Now, mind you, he gave a great performance as Colonel Lockjaw. But to quote my acquaintance, Jay Washington, Colonel Lockjaw is not a nuanced character. I don't think that's a bad thing, not to be nuanced. Colonel Lockjaw is a violent white supremacist with a fetish for black women. No nuance. This is a straight-up bad guy. And as I said about spoilers, this guy wants to kill Chase Infinity's character because she might be his mixed-race daughter. That shows you how evil Colonel Lockjaw is. Was it a good performance? Oh, yes. But let us consider that Delroy Lindo as Delta Slim in Sinners, and Stellan Skarsgård as Gustav in Sentimental Value. Those were better performances, if you ask me. And the Oscars should have gone to one or the other of those two. Okay. There isn't a whole lot more to say of significance. But I am satisfied with the results of the Oscars. Now, admittedly, and yet again I will quote Jay Washington, the one problem with One Battle After Another is, as interesting as these female characters are, Chase Infinity, Regina Hall, and Tiana Taylor. And these are black women, or women of color, or multiracial in the case of Chase Infinity. The service in the story that they give is really for the benefit of the white male characters. Whereas in Sinners, the female characters of color, most of them, in fact, I think there's only one woman not of color in the movie. But regardless, the characters in Sinners, the women in Sinners had their own autonomy. And were not there just to prop up the white male characters. Or in the case of Sinners, the male characters. And who predominantly are black. But what I'm trying to say is the women in Sinners had more of an autonomy to the story than the women in One Battle After Another. And I'll just leave it at that. So judge for yourself which is better. The last person I want to talk about as I end, the incomparable Jessie Buckley, won Best Actress for Hamnet. So utterly deserved. In her own words, the character of Agnes Hathaway, the wife of William Shakespeare, is a celebration of the beautiful chaos of a mother's love. I believe Jessie Buckley said a mother's heart. Yet again, Hamnet, the movie itself is decent. She is thunderous. She is thunderous in the role. Oddly enough, she reminds me of my own mother, oddly enough. Of being this force of nature. And getting to see mothers being celebrated this year at the Oscars in the nominations is extraordinary. But particularly her performance as Agnes Hathaway left me devastated. And yes, reminds me of the wildness of my own mother. The untamed, unstoppable force of a mother. Jessie Buckley, an Irish actress who is making a name for herself, is extraordinary and electrifying whenever she's on screen. But no more so than as Agnes Hathaway. So, yet again, I am mostly satisfied with the awards. I cannot and will not argue in any way. In fact, I'm 100% supportive of Michael B. Jordan winning Best Actor, Jessie Buckley winning Best Actress, and to close, Amy Madigan as Aunt Gladys in Weapons winning Best Supporting Actress. There's not much I need to say about Aunt Gladys. Other than that is a character that will be remembered for a long time. And a new horror movie icon. Now I could break down each of the categories if I wanted, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. I am mostly satisfied. With a few exceptions, but I am glad that Sinners won some major awards. Those are my thoughts on the 98th Academy Awards. My name is Brendan Marr, that noisy hearings on ventilator. Thank you for tuning in to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. May the Force be with you.